Hola, amigos, and welcome to Keyframers, the animated collaborative coding live stream where we bring imaginative user interfaces to life. I'm your host, Stephen Shaw, but you may know me as @Shashaw.
And I'm your host, David Khourshid, also known as @DavidKPNO.
Together, we are coding compadres, animation amigos, Boolean buddies, and keyframe companions.
Yeah, so we are going to be creating an animation from scratch live using HTML, CSS, and some JavaScript. And we're happy to answer any questions you may have. So please reach out in the chat or comments.
Yes, we should have some fun stuff going on today. Let's check this out here. You sent this over to me this morning, and this is a pretty cool little animation.
Yeah, because it combines elements we've done where, it's sort of flipping. We don't know exactly where the elements are going to end up, right? Because we have this eye changing size. So we have that flipping elements in there, but we also have the ruler inside, which sort of moves independently, and it's its own interesting challenge.
Yeah. Right. That inner grid kind of deal is very interesting. We'll have to see how that goes. But yeah, there's a lot of nice little touches to it that we'll get into. Ready to code?
Let's do it.
All right, we've got basically nothing here.
I had a little bit of stuff.
Minor bit of setup.
Yeah.
Resizer, and then we'll say Resizer. There we go.
Yep. So probably that Resizer and the Zur. So.
Yep. We can do that with just some spans. That's easy enough.
We could have, but we'll start with this.
You definitely can use splitting in this kind of setup, but it's really not gonna help too much with the stuff that it would do. Oh great, my internet is dying.
Oh no. It's big.
Yeah. Let's see if it stabilizes here. Should be good. All right. Now let me see if we can get a good font here.
With a name like Resizer, variable fonts probably fit the bill, but
yeah. Have you messed around with variable fonts at all yet?
I saw a lot of really good talks on them. Variable fonts probably fit the bill, but
yeah. Have you messed around with variable fonts at all yet?
I saw a lot of really good talks on them, especially by Mandy Kerr and yes. What's his name? I'm so terrible with names. Someone else who's really big in the variable fonts area, but no, I haven't played with it yet. But apparently, it's just I don't know. You modify some CSS properties, and you could change the fonts, different characteristics of the font, which is pretty cool. And now Google Fonts has variable fonts. Like you could specify show only variable fonts, and you have a lot of really good ones, including some monospace ones like Recursive or Roboto Mono, Railway. Some you might know like Railway, Roboto, Oswald, WorkSans. All of those are variable fonts. It's really cool.
Yeah. This one that I just chose, Hebo, which is pretty close to the original, but the I isn't square. This is a variable font, though. I don't know what about it is variable other than just the weight. But yeah, let me see if I can find one with that proper I. It's a shame too, because the rest of those characters are very nice.
Yeah. I mean, we're gonna make our own eye anyway, so we could have a res, we could have a zur, and then we could
Recreate the eye.
We could recreate the eye. Yes. Span class eye. There's an elements for eyes, Shaw. It's called eye.
A dedicated element just for the eye character.
That's what eye is for. There's no other reason except for SVG fonts.
Yes.
Icon fonts, I suppose. All right, cool. So we have our setup. We have res, we have eye, we have zur. And so now our next plan of action, I guess, would be to work on that eye a little bit.
Yeah. So we'll probably need some inner elements. Would you think?
Yeah.
Because there's so much going on with it that well, before and after it may get a little too much to do with just pseudos. So let's do span class equals char, and then span class equals ruler.
All right. I'm making all these spans display inline block just to avoid the inevitable. So yeah, for those of you who don't know, span by default is display inline. And so while that does what you expect it to do, it also doesn't have an intrinsic height or width or anything like that, which, or at least I believe so, right? There are some other caveats to.
So with inline, it can't accept any like padding or any margin or anything like that. Like it basically just fits the contents inside, and it flows with the flow of the line. So by setting it to inline block, we'll get hey, what happened here? Got out of sync. We'll get it to where we can actually style them and stretch them and apply transforms to them, because you can't do a transform on an inline element. All right, so I added 3 spans in here. We've got the text, which contains the actual I character, and then the char, which we can use to make the actual like new I character, and then the ruler, which we probably want to nest inside the char, right?
Yeah, if it's at bottom parts.
Yeah, and we may need to use let's see, display flex here to get everything to line up. I was initially doing everything with no spaces because with spans being inline and doing all that text, like it just all it needs to be right next to each other in the actual markup so that those spaces don't come through visually. But if we just add display flex in there, it's now gonna all collapse together properly.
Yeah. So what I'm thinking, one unique challenge of this is the ruler inside of the eye, where obviously with the eye, we might want to do something like transform and scale X. However, that's going to, if we do it to the overall eye, that's going to warp the inner ruler. But we also need to make the ruler so that it's sort of clipped at whatever the width of the eye is. And so my initial thought was to use clip path and animate that just for the ruler. What do you think?
Yeah. We actually, let's see. So if we get the ruler out of the char and we're using I kind of as our source of truth, then that may help by just being able to set the width on that element. That makes sense.
Yeah. Thinking. So do we want to animate the width, or that might not be the best idea?
Yeah.
I'm sure. This is where it gets tricky. Just trying to figure out what to do here.
Right. These are the choices that have to be made with how best to animate it, because there's a lot of different approaches you could take here, or at least two primary ones of animating the actual width or just doing transforms. What we could do is have the eye itself be the overall container. We can set kind of that width on there as like the max width, and then use transforms and like the sliding layer effect to actually make the layers revealed.
You're right. Yeah.
Does that work?
Yeah, sliding layers, that could work. We do have a bit of a sizing issue with that though, because we need to know like when Resizer is completely collapsed, like what the width of that eye is. But we could sort of either hard code that, or yeah, you know what, let's just hard code that for now. So I really like the sliding layers technique. It's something that we actually haven't visited in a long time. So yeah, we could definitely do something like that.
Yeah, let's see. Oh.
Okay.
Right.
So char, ruler, text.
Okay, there we go. All right, the char itself. Let's see. Why don't we do height 0.6 like that, and then padding top. Margin top. And then we can do the dot inside as like a after.
Let's see, that's I'm adding some prerequisite JavaScript that we're going to need. Since we're basically flipping this, we don't know how big or how small that eye is going to be. We want to be able to smoothly animate between those two dimensions, whatever those dimensions might be. So, and also for res and for zur. So, vector res. And is it still semantic if it's part of a word? Because that's basically what we're doing.
Well, yeah, so what we would do here is just say like title resizer.
That works. Accessibility.
Yeah, there you go. All right.
Yes.
Right. Let's go 0.8. That 60%.
Had a data state of small, just so we could toggle between, just for now, like a small, large, and do the sizes that way. So call it sizer. Sizer equals sizer. Cool. I like the style of that eye. I like the red streak. It's like a racing stripe.
It's getting there.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what we need there. All right. So you're actually planning to do some flipping here. That's perfectly fine. Let's see. Go.
What's up?
So much complexity here. State equals zeros.
What? This is so we could add more. Small, medium, large. And hey, it's a lot less complex than doing a full out state machine. So basically, it's just a cycle between small and large. And so we could say Resizer.dataset.state equals, well, state. And then there we go. Now we toggled. In fact, let me just that is state. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Yeah, see, it toggles between the two.
All right.
It's a bit big. There we go.
Nice. All right, so let's see. I got ruler there.
And so that way we could use that data state to change the width of that eye.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically with sliding layers, the inner ruler, that is pretty much always going to have to stay the same width, I believe.
Yeah. Let me fix
So we could actually probably make that 100 VW or something like that.
Let's see. 6 in. That is like 0.5 there. 5. I'm wondering why that. Because this needs to be left. Do you know why the sizing of that box is off? Like if you're looking at it.
Sizing the box. Okay.
Yeah. See the blue border or whatever. Is kind of offset there.
I mean, it is 50 VW.
Well,
so
the height of it. Maybe I need to refresh here. Of the black box, but it's offset, and I can't see why that is the case.
Oh, I see. Okay. Let's take a look. Text car. So I have a position absolute somewhere or something. Well, yeah, because the text is
taking up space. No.
Yeah, I think the position absolute might have something to do with that.
Well, so I've changed that to display none, so that shouldn't be in the place. Let's just say ruler display none as well. Make it low. And then even if I take off like the before. This is weird. There we go.
Oh, that worked?
Something like that. Let's see. Chart. Oh, goodness. I don't know, David. I don't know.
All right, so you want the blue box to be completely surrounding.
I mean, ideally, this would all just line up. I'm just not sure why it is not lining up. Height 100%, margin 0, padding 0, display block. I don't know what's up with that. Try that really quick. Block. Nothing. Okay. Oh boy.
So I'm just finishing up something and then take a look. All right. So refactored the flip function. That's what I was doing. Okay. So Resizer, we want the blue box to be completely over I and the text. So we have text.
Yeah, sure. There we go.
That looks about right.
Yeah, I just added position absolute. Don't know why that affects it, but
well, there you go.
Certainly gets
cool.
it.
Nice.
All right, now I can add the dash back in here. Okay, that works. And then go on some alignment here.
All right, so I did a very simple toggle just to test things out. You know, we're going between small and large. Small could probably be even smaller, but just making sure that my not so state machine works. Just going between small and large. And so the idea is that we're going to flip between these. Well, for Resizing, it's just the positions. For the I in the middle, it's the, well, I guess the size, the width, really. So we're going to flip.
See, so I added that down at the bottom there. If you need to access it again, small, let's say 2, pretty close. Lots of little fiddly numbers here.
Let's find our res and our zer. Res.zer. Love these class names. Res and zer. So transform 3 seconds and position duration 0 seconds. Or that. I like being specific. And then we have transform, translate x, that, and or none. Hey, it works. Cool.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and at the end, I'll talk about how I transformed our flip function from handling only one element to handling multiple elements. It was actually a lot easier than I thought. It's a little bit of refactoring. Now all I have to do is add lcar. And so now the character, or the .I, that's going to have flipping attributes too. So now you have DW and DX, and well, if you need the others, then they're there as well. But yeah, let's think through animating that I.
Yeah, so probably need to use some sliding layers here. So we have the actual char that is just the same width and height as the parent, and has that pseudo element in it as well. So we would just offset that using the DW, I believe. So let's set that up down here as well. Just trying to keep the.
So I'm wondering how does that work? If the I is always 50 oh wait, no, I'm changing that.
Yeah.
So yeah, which part is always the same width?
Oh, well, so right now it's the just width of the container, but it should actually be 100 VW, something like that.
Nice, yeah.
And then we do overflow hidden here. Oh man, this is up that, but if we do padding top, 0.46 m. Still getting overflow hidden. Let's see. All right, so we're just gonna have to do height 1m, and then set the height down here. Set this from the bottom. Oh, okay, let's get
breaking up the pen and paper for this sliding layers thing. So would it be useful to have the width, not just the change in width? I'm pretty sure that'd be. Yeah, I think we do need that measurement. Or actually, maybe no, we don't. I don't know. Yeah, we do. Okay. I'll add it. Yeah, cool. All right, so we have the ruler. I'm going to make a ruler inner span, just a heads up, so that we have our sliding layers right in there. All right, so we have ruler, and that ruler should probably, in order to create this really cool effect, that ruler should probably always be the same width, which you've done. Okay, so we have 100 VW there. I'm going to kill not opacity, but overflow hidden, just so we could see what's going on.
It's so patriotic right now.
I know. It's great. State. That's a lot of dates in there. Okay, but yeah, my goal right now is we want to have the the width, so it's _W, that's going to be available so that we could actually do the sliding layers correctly. So
where are you?
I am, well, right now I'm in the JavaScript. Don't worry about that. But yeah, so yeah, now in the what's it called? The I. I'm going to add this. I'm going to do and before. Position absolutes, bottom 100%, content, their style.
Attribute style.
Oh yes. Sorry, it's a Monday. Oh my gosh. Font size 1 rem. Let's okay. So you see how we have the width? So right now the width is, well, in my screen it goes from 27 to 698.
Yeah, I've got like 334 to 13.
Yeah.
Okay, so
needless to say, it's a big boy. So
yeah, so I've got styles down here for the char itself.
Okay.
Let's see. We probably want I and char have that same setup.
All right, so I put a red border over the ruler, and so that ruler inner.
Why don't we ignore the ruler for now and get the get the char itself?
Okay, yeah.
And then we can copy that pretty easily. All right, so yeah, let's do this for everything. There, and then there's Zer, data flipping, transform, translate X. All right, great. And then so basically we only want to animate the char when it, or we want to transform the char when it's data flipping. To use that W var, correct?
Yes. Well, all right. So the char represents the.
That's the actual like stripe.
Oh, okay.
So let's add overflow hidden back.
We could probably use DW for that. Maybe.
Yeah, we might be able to. Let me see. Okay, that works. So I've declared that up here. They're all.
Oh, okay.
So we can adjust the timing of everything together.
Scale X.
Var.
DW. That's supposed to. And all right, so it will transform.
Oh, well, so the I itself is what's data flipping, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we need to do that. All right, I guess that.
Yeah, you're right. So.
Go.
Yeah, it's still not doing anything.
Yeah. Okay. I char.
Again?
Oh, yeah.
Oh wait, it does. It does something weird.
Yeah. So we probably want char transform origin left 0 0.
Oh, it did something, but really fast.
Yeah, let's slow everything down.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay.
Kind of got something happening there.
Well, okay. So what I'm thinking is that, so for this I data, I'll just copy this. But when I is data flipping, it needs to translate via X. So we're going to do translate X calc 1 pixel times var dx. So that's just for data flipping, or that's just for the I. And so now the I moves, which is good.
So let's take off the char and let's just see.
Cool. Yeah, cool. So now all we have to do is that scaling motion with the char in there.
Yeah, so the char itself is always 100 viewport width. So we just need to use the same translation. We don't need to mess with scaling. We'll do that and that. And that should do it. None. Okay, maybe it's.
So remember, we have DW in there. Okay, so as far as the sliding layers goes, and I think now is a good time to do that. All right, let me first think about. Oh, so is the sliding layer applying to everything or just the ruler?
The sliding layer I was thinking applied to the entire eye itself, and so the char is 100 viewport width all the time, so it can just resize, and then it's just actually moving around. Let's see. So, I mean, do you think that works? Let's see. Let's try scale X again.
Yeah, I'm a little confused about all of the moving parts.
Right. So we've got the eye, the container itself.
Okay.
Let's give that just background yellow. And then the ruler, let's just not worry about for now. I'm setting that to display none. And then the char inside, inside of the eye. So how do we want to move that? What's the easiest way to do that?
Well, so we need, and still maybe 75% clear on the structure here, but we need 200 VW elements, like one like this, where they're overlapping. And so they could do the whole sliding layer thing.
Well, so the eye itself is the main container, and then the char is just revealed within that. And so when we offset the eye, we just do the opposite offset of that char inside, so that the overflow hidden is only revealing a small portion of that.
Okay, I think I got it. So, yeah, thank you for the interpretive dance. It actually helped. So, all right, if we do transform and then we do translate X, bear with me. This is going to be calc. Negative 100%, so it's going to be all the way to the left, but we're going to add the width, which times 1 pix, which is the width that it should be. Then nothing happens, and I think that might be because we're not animating. No, we are animating it.
Yeah.
So what am I doing wrong? We don't have a no. So data flipping char. It should be on the char itself. So I'm just going to put char. Just to test, we're going to.
Hey, that's a lot closer.
Woo. Yes. Going back, it's a little bit weird, but going forward.
Yeah. Oh, right. So that presents a problem. Right. When you're scaling up, that's okay.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's super fun. So here's my idea for that. We have the eye with its overflow hidden stuff. right?
Yeah.
So it should not be overflow hidden. We need to put that overflow hidden on something else. The eye should always be overflow visible, and that's so that we could allow that it to shrink gracefully.
Yeah.
So, whoa.
Yeah, that introduces some complexity.
Some artifacts, but that's okay. So we have a char, and how's the char decorated?
So what we can do there is use the two pseudo elements instead of the background on the deal itself.
Yeah, let's hold on there, because so the DW, or sorry, not the DW, the char is doing what it's supposed to do, but we might need another element to additionally layer side, and that other element is going to be so that the char could have overflow hidden. So basically we need an in-between element that hides the overflow. So char and like char inner. Yeah. And that char inner will essentially be the ruler, and everything else is what I'm thinking. So yeah, I'm going to call this char inner, and then dot char. That's going to have all the positional elements. So could like bring that up, bring this up, margin padding 0. And so the char inner is just going to be position like position absolute 0, left 0 with 100%, height 100%. And so this one is going to be overflow hidden. So yeah. Something's happening.
Yeah. So I'll do that here. I'll do 100% there. Ay.
Okay. So the char. All right. How could we identify which color is that? Let's give it a outline of like 3 pixels solid purple or something like that. Okay, good. So now we want to make sure that the char inner, let's make it 3 pixels blue, is at the right place. And so the reason you're seeing it off to the left is because we're not positioning it correctly. So this char.
So our right now you have char set to width 100 viewport. We don't want that, right? We want that to be just the size of the container, and then the char inner is what we want to be 100 viewport width.
Well, what did you just do? Sorry.
So char itself, we just want to be the size of the eye container with 100%, height 100%, and char inner is what we want to actually be that full width.
Not exactly. We want char and char inner, so both sliding layers always have to be the same width. So what if we make this 100 VW?
Oh, and then we just need to translate this. Form translate x. Height of 100%.
I don't think there's any animation on the char inner, which is why it's like that. So oh, that thing just zoomed away. Where'd it go?
So doing the sliding layer there, I've got it revealed. The inner line 88. Is that
line 88
in the CSS?
So yeah, funny enough, I already have a char inner style at the bottom here. Yeah. Oh, hey, that's it. I don't know what you did, but yeah.
Oh, okay, now it's working.
Wow.
Yeah, so we don't have that W value right off the bat, so that it wasn't showing up correctly.
Let me fix that real quick. right. Well, there you go. Now you always have a W.
What did you set it to?
No, I didn't set it to anything. I just I have a set state function over here, and so I'm just initially setting that state so that it could do the flip stuff just at the beginning. And because they're not moving, it's not gonna really flip. Oh, that's so cool. Okay. Now the easy part, rulers.
Sure.
Probably use some background repeats trickery for that. And actually, I don't think we need this ruler inner because we could probably put it directly on the chart inner, right?
In theory.
Yeah.
Here's where.
Let's try it out.
You're saying like drop the ruler elements entirely and just add the that grid or
yeah.
that. Okay.
Oh my gosh, I'm trying to find CSS ruler examples, and it's a lot of repeated elements. I just want to use background whatever.
Yeah, so it's going to be multiple backgrounds.
Okay, yeah.
Background, image, do linear gradient, FFF. FF 1 pixel.
Hello, everyone watching. Again, please feel free to say anything in the chat. Ask us why we're doing what we're doing, and how the sliding layers thing works. It's definitely complicated, but sliding layers is really cool because you have the benefits of sort of a clip animation as well as, just high performance. So it's really awesome.
Let's see, background image, inner. Let's see, I started it. Okay. Yeah. Small. Started out. All right, let's see. Why is that not working?
Second. Then duration. I am CSS variableizing some stuff. Resizing. Okay, cool.
If that does anything. Hey, got a couple marks there.
Cool. 3 or 2.
Yeah. So yeah, that's not exactly what I want. So yeah, I think.
So
just do
is there a way to? I think there's a way to repeat a background. So
yeah, that's what I'm working on. So let's see.
Repeating linear gradient is probably what we need. And then you could specify a pixel size or a percent. That's pretty cool.
All right, so yeah, this is basically how I want it to go. I think I need to reverse the order here. Do that, and then, yep, see? No.
Up to make it disappear.
Color white. Okay. All right, got that background position. No, it's not right. No. Let's see.
Yeah, I'm really digging that.
Left. Yeah, hopefully I can explain this a little bit.
Yeah, we do have some previous videos on sliding layers. I'm going to try to dig those up because it's also a very useful technique. Framers. Sliding layers.
Let's see. Background, repeat X. That's what we want. Yeah, there we go. Check that out. That ruler.
Nice.
Okay. We can tone that down to 1 pixel. Go.
So did you put that directly on the ruler or the char inner?
Yes. Yes. Char inner.
Okay, cool. And so I guess the before is
just
that's for the
dot.
eye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the dot. Okay, so this we'll probably do something like we'll do this is like 60 and this is like 40. Do those both bottom. Yeah. Should give us what we're looking for. What are you doing with the after?
Don't worry about it.
I don't know.
Just kidding.
Okay.
Is it possible? Yeah. Did anything change for you? Hopefully not.
No. Looks
perfect. Okay. So now this is going to blow my mind and probably not yours, but translate none, or sorry, transform none. All right, carte blanche, do whatever you want here. I'm just going to do transform 25%. So basically this is going to move on its own. Just call it 5 seconds.
So we can say with 150%, translate X, negative 25%. There we go.
Probably need some overflow hidden on this.
Yeah, so the problem there is that's going to hide the dot.
Oh, yeah. So, we
but
no, just
we
kidding.
Can do overflow. Yeah, we have overflow hidden there. Yeah, we have overflow hidden on the char, so it should be being contained, but...
Yeah, do we have it on the actual top level eye?
No.
Yeah. I think we might need that. Or, because I said no.
You said
Let's see what happens. Oh, wait, no, we can't. I wish I wish you could do like an overflow left hidden or something like that. All right, so that's okay. I have a plan C. Instead of after, this is going to be dot markings. And so now we could, oh yeah, so we can move this to its after, but we have to make the markings full. You're probably not enjoying how many layers we have here.
Yeah.
But, okay, so now if we overflow hidden this, we should be good, in theory. Yes.
Yep. It's working. All right, explaining the markings a little bit. So we're using background image to do some linear gradients. And with linear gradients, you can basically declare specific steps for like the colors in that gradient. And you can, if you just specify like one color to another color, it's just going to blend smoothly. But if you give it specific units, like for instance 1 pixel here, we have 1 pixel's worth of white. I think we can actually take this out here and still get the same result. Yep, there we go. And then if you declare another color like at that next step, then it will then that will be the next value that's used, and that will continue off until the next color is declared, or in this case that's going to be the end. So we just have 1 pixel of white essentially, and then the transparent after that. And then we use background size so that we're setting 100 pixels as kind of the overall size. We want the larger tick to be, and then 60% is setting the height there. And then we want the other one to repeat every 10 pixels, and it's only 30% height. So that's how we get kind of that repeating pattern there.
It looks great.
Yeah, it works quite well.
I'm going to add a tiny delay to the eye just because there's something weird with the sizing where it sort of beats the when it's erasing the other elements, it sort of beats the other ones out. So
yeah, I don't know what that is.
So I'm trying to add a delay somewhere. I think doing it on the eye is the wrong thing to do. So maybe if I do it in the char. Nope. It makes it go all weird. Probably the char inner. Okay, so.
And it shouldn't need a delay. Like it.
Just
maybe
kidding, no delay.
The other, maybe like the res and the zer needing a delay, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, not sure. Honestly, not the biggest deal, you know.
Yeah, one thing we can do rather than let's see, lchar. What is lchar? Okay, lchar is the I. That's confusing. Lchar style dot width equals dot random times 50. Can do here, get some random sizing.
Oh, nice.
So whenever you click it, it should randomize. And let's see, we can do it based on the state. So if states, let's do 50, 50, 10.
Oh, you know what we could do? So actually, yeah, exactly the same as you're doing lchar width, and we could instead of going through the states, we could just say set width, and then set it to set width, and set it to something random, and we probably don't even need this, right?
Right. Yeah, so I was doing it here where it's like a set cycle of widths that's slightly randomized, so that it's not just like you know, okay. Like it'll actually step a little bit between some sizes in theory. It's not.
All right, so just a little bit of renaming. I probably made an error. Set state is not defined. That's because we called it set width. Yeah. Set width. Okay, so Shaw made it all sorts of random.
Oh boy. Yeah. Let's see. Math.min, or math.max 1, and math.random. There we go. Probably something like. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. It's still sometimes gonna randomize a little small because of that. Math.random s x 2. Yeah, there's better ways to set all of that, but
yeah. Well, I think we nailed it.
That's a pretty good little setup. Yeah, certainly play with it a lot more and add in a lot of other ways to handle this, but yeah, I dig it.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go through and do a bit of cleanup here before we get into any kind of summary, because there's a lot that failed throughout the process, and that's the beauty of keyframing here. Let's just move a few things. All right, so we've got that moving all the time. That's great. Char inner. All right, and so we don't have a ruler anymore. That's fine.
So the starting width should be what? 2 rens or?
Something like that.
Equals whatever. 32. I'm just removing that first thing because yeah, shouldn't need that.
Well, so it needs the vars to be set.
Okay.
So you do need to do like the flip and all that. And let's do it based on m. And then we don't necessarily have to have the random element in there. We can just do it directly. 2 plus m, and then we can just have, several randomized value, seemingly random values in there.
It actually goes to
yeah, that's a bit much. So let's see, what's kind of our max there? 5 is probably the max we want to go.
Yeah.
3 there. We'll do 1 and then 2.5. Or yeah, is there any way to get the transition to not happen at the beginning?
At the very beginning?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to figure out. You know what? Let's just add a. This is going to be so bad, but I'm going to add an immediate flag, whatever. Is this going to be a good idea? All right, so, and this is just very, very, very hacky. So basically, if we have that immediate flag and it's true, then all we want to do is do whatever the, well, no, because we need those. No. Okay, no, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to over-engineer. I'm going to undo all of that. But yes, good question. So yeah, because we need those variables, don't we?
Yeah, hold on. I think I have a solution.
Okay.
That's close. That was close. Let's see. W in there. Let's see. So what if we do 0, 0, That's closer. Why is that char inner still moving that way? Char inner. All right. Does it have 8 on it? Doesn't have anything fancy. Okay. Yeah, that's weird. But it's at least a little more sensical.
Yeah.
Now, I think we can live with that. Maybe tweak it later.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fine.
What if we do?
I actually like that. It makes it immediately clear, like, how it works, I guess.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, where did you set that up? Okay. Can speed that up a little bit. All right, just making final tweaks.
Yep, I think, yeah.
All right.
A little bit faster.
So what are we gonna cover in this?
Sliding layers, flipping multiple elements, and how we did that. There's not actually too much that changed there. But yeah, definitely the sliding layers and the independent animation type of thing.
All right. So flipping multiple layers, I think we probably want to dive into first.
Multiple elements.
Multiple elements, yeah. And then sliding layers. Okay. All right. Let me yeah, why don't we go into that? You can break that down first for flipping multiple elements, and yeah, go from there. All right, let me get back to the script here. All right, if you're watching live, stay with us. We're gonna do some kind of animation breakdowns. It's kind of hard to follow the full thing because we try different things out and things break, and we take different directions. So we're gonna go back and break down a few of the pieces of it that'll hopefully be understandable for you. But we're making it for smaller videos, so it may sound a little funny if you're just watching through here, but stick with us. All right, so let me get a little marker here. Hola, amigos, and welcome to Keyframers. I'm your host, Stephen Shaw, but you may know me as... Let's start that again. Hola, amigos, and welcome to Keyframers. I'm your host, Stephen Shaw.
And I'm your host, David Khourshid.
Right now, we'll be giving a quick overview of the techniques used to build this animation. Our show is supported by our sponsors, CodePen at codepen.io, and CSS Tricks at css-tricks.com, and viewers like you. You can pledge at patreon.com/keyframers. Links are available below.
Yeah, and you can also watch the full process of us creating this animation from scratch with a deeper dive into each technique and seeing every drop of sweat as we struggle to make this work. So please check out the live stream. And if you have any questions, you could leave a comment or you could ask in the chat, and we'll be more than happy to answer.
That's right. All right, David, why don't you break down flipping multiple elements for us?
All right. So you might remember in some of our previous episodes that we did something called the flip technique, which stands for first, last, invert play. And it's generally a way to make layout transitions really, really smooth by having the illusion of a last element appearing in the place of a first element and then transitioning that to 0 so that you have the illusion of smooth movement and smooth scaling. We were using this homegrown flip function, and if you remember, it only took one element, first L and get last L, which returned the first L, but I adjusted it a bit so that we could take in an array of elements. And so the way we do that is, well, we have first L's, which is an array of elements, and we map over getRect, which get rectangle, which gets the bounding client rectangle of each one of those elements. So now we have an array of rectangles. Then we do like we did in the original flip function. On the next animation frame, we do something, and then we get all of the elements via get last L's. In this case, it's just going to be the exact same as the first L's. And then we're going to do for each on each of those last L's so that we can get each individual rectangle of those last elements. Now remember, we still have the array of first rectangles that we could reference the original first rectangle of each elements from. We do our normal invert calculations here. We don't really need this console log. And we set a few properties, dx, dy, dw, and dh. In this case, only dx and dw are going to be important to us. And I'm also adding a double dash w. And what this is just the width in pixels of the last rectangle. Now, this is going to be important when we do our sliding layers, which we're going to talk about next. But now that we have all of those properties set on those last elements, we do what we've done before, which is we set dataset flipping to true over here, flipping to true. And then on the next animation frame, we remove all of those dataset flipping attributes from each of the elements. And that way, our transitions in CSS will just work.
Yes, and we break down the flip technique a lot in other videos, so you should definitely go back and check those out. But essentially, for the CSS side of things, I'll show a little bit of what's happening there. We've got all of the elements that we want to animate. They've all got the same transitions right now, and then when data flipping is active, they have transition none. This is so we can instantly move that element where it needs to be with our transforms. So down here, res and zer, we're translating those back to their original position with that dx value. So whenever the animation happens, whenever we trigger that flip, if I take that off, you can see how res and zer are just instantly where they need to be. This transform dx makes it so that they transition into place from that old position. If things would refresh here. There we go. All right, so yeah, now they smoothly animate into place because we've translated them to their old position to now transform back into where they actually are in the DOM. But yeah, we break down that some more, so go check out some of our other flipping videos and watch the full thing if you want more complete breakdowns of these techniques.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So about to go into sliding layers. Let's see how we actually did that. Looking at what the final layers we ended up with.
Some outlines for sure.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. We've got we've got char inner, markings. All right, and then text. I guess technically we don't need text. Just remove that for simplicity. All right. Okay, let's talk a little bit about sliding layers. So in order to accomplish this effect, we actually have a lot of elements making up this little eye in the middle here that resizes whenever we click. Oh, nice. So David's applied a border to everything to help us kind of see what's happening. You can see whenever I click to change, we're applying kind of a random width to this eye. And you can see how there's like a border that suddenly appears that's off the side. That's showing how sliding layers works, where basically you have a little viewport, a little window that you're viewing an element through, and you're sliding another element inside of that around within that viewport, so that it appears that an element is a certain size, but it's actually another size. We've used this technique before. There's some other videos you can check out on it. But basically, our eye element is our overall viewport. We're not hiding anything from that, but the char within that we are using as like our viewport with overflow hidden. So the eye is setting the actual width to affect the layout so that res and zer are offset in the proper places. And then the char inside is what we animate to give that illusion that it's growing and shrinking. So char doesn't actually have any like style, like it's not visible, but the char inner is where we're setting that background. So you get this part of the eye here, and then there's a pseudo element, the before, that's giving the overhead little dot there. And the markings are inside of that, another layer that's kind of sliding around. There's a overflow hidden on that, and the after element actually contains all these markings with some linear gradients. We break that down a little bit in another spot. So yeah, we're doing the actual trigger to like change the sliding layers with the flip technique. We break that down in the other video, but whenever we click, we're applying that width and triggering flip, and we get a bunch of CSS variables that are then sliding these layers around inside. So the eye is transformed by the X position, and the char inside is transformed by the width, so that it's offset inside of that main eye layer, and the char inner is offset inside of that as well. Which, is that right? Yeah, that's right, because that's how we get the overlapping effect.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of different layers and a lot of little pieces. I recommend going back and watching the full thing to understand that a little more fully, how we got to all of these specific layers and everything. Anything else to help break down that idea?
Yeah. So basically, we want to approach this backwards in. Just remember that char inner, and the what did I call it?
Markings.
Markings. Those are all the same width. So when resizer changes, those three elements never change size. So if you're still confused, think about how that could work with just those three elements, which are children of, like, nested like Russian dolls. Think about how that could work with all of them being the same size, and keep in mind that overflow hidden is used to create that effect. So
yeah, that's a good summary. Anyway, go back and check out the full video if you want more. We'll break that down for you there. Do you want to do just a short one on the actual markings themselves?
Yeah, I'd like to learn about that.
All right. We're with gradients. Well, let's talk through really quick the ruler markers or markings that we have that we built with CSS Gradients. So inside of our nesting here, inside of the I character, we have these markings. And so if we go to that in the CSS, you can see we have a full width element, it's just taking up all the space of the parent, and then it's got overflow hidden inside of it. The pseudo element inside is moving around. It's just a really simple animation, animating back and forth to give just some dynamic pieces to it. But if we take that off, we can see a little more fully what's happening here. So using CSS Gradients, we have two linear gradients that are both exactly the same, but we can change them to make it a little clearer. So now we have a red marker as kind of the taller marker, and that's this first layer here. And then the second layer is the white markers that happen. How we're accomplishing this is a repeating effect. So it's repeating along the x-axis, so just going along horizontally there. And then with background size, we can actually set how frequently those are repeating. So the first layer is 100 pixels wide and only 60% high. That's this red marker here. And then the other layer is 10 pixels wide and 30% tall. So that's why we get the repeating of this smaller marker very frequent, and a longer repetition for the red marker. The actual marker itself is drawn with this gradient using just absolute values in the linear gradient. We've set the size of the background as 100 pixels or 10 pixels, but we have a very fixed drawing of those lines by using 1 pixel for each. With gradients, basically the two colors or more that you add to it, it just kind of uses that color until it reaches the next stop, and then it tries to blend in between the two. But if you basically set them at the same stop in that gradient, it gives a very fine line. And a lot of CSS artists use this to gradability. There's so much interesting stuff happening in this space right now. And a lot of it boils down to linear gradients or radial gradients with really fixed stops to give some really complex effects. So you should definitely read more about that if you're interested in CSS art or just accomplishing some nice graphics with CSS only. That's the basic technique of how we built these ruler markers. You should go back and check out the full video if you want to learn more. Well, that's about all we have for you today. If you've enjoyed this episode and would like to see more, go back and check out our YouTube channel, youtube.com/keyframers. We've got plenty of great content there, including some nice flipping animations that you can learn from, like we did here, and some other info on sliding layers and plenty of great stuff.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Also, if you've enjoyed watching this episode and you would like to see more, you could support by pledging at patreon.com/keyframers. Of course.
Yes.
Or just send us money directly. I don't know.
Sure. PayPal's great. Whatever you got, we'll take. Except Bitcoin. No Bitcoin.
Nope.
All right. Well, thanks so much for watching. We appreciate you all. Till next time. Adios, amigos.
Yeah. Adios.